famous persona here in the city. Josh has pursued his dream of making a film, and tonight we're going to talk about his journey from the beginnings to now. The film will be shooting next month around the city and here in this school and all kinds of places. I'd like to make a few announcements. We will be having a free day of school here for all of you people that maybe wanted to experience filmmaking. Technically, we're having a free day of school on February 28th here in the school. You can sign up on our website. It needs to be RSVP'd. It's a full day of shooting, lighting, acting, editing, all that stuff. And, you know, the economy's bad right now, so we thought y'all could use it. And don't forget about our one-year program we have here. We use some students. We have a few seats left in our one-year program, so if anybody needs to talk to me about that, I'm here. And otherwise, I think it's time to listen to him instead of me. Right.
Thank you, Ann. Let's hear for Ann. So I'm going to use this iPhone timer so that I don't mess myself up. Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a really surreal and exciting time, and so if my brain seems like it's mush, at the end of the days, during pre-production, I find that I say really dumb things, and I'm a little punch drunk towards the end of the days, so hopefully, maybe that'll help, I don't know. And I think what I'll do is an abbreviated version of sort of the thing I do when I go to, believe it or not, I'm actually asked to go into schools and universities and sometimes dress as Peaches Christ and educate students. Not so much about drag, but it's more about underground filmmaking. It's true. I know. It's really sick. And you wouldn't believe who's written a check to me for all sorts of things they shouldn't be rewarding me for. And I guess that's like a big part of our story. So I think what I'll do is kind of just start at the very beginning, where it all matters for me is just like, you know, I was that kid who was the other, who was the weirdo, who was the freak. I think my parents always knew I was queer or gay. That was never an issue. It was more like, is he going to grow up to become Jeffrey Dahmer? Or, you know, what's going on? Because he was so obsessed with violence and scary movies and monsters and horror stuff. And so the way I kind of, I don't know, sort of pursued my interest in filmmaking was to create haunted houses when I was a kid, make little movies on video cameras, do theater. I did a lot of writing and directing plays in high school. And that's where I kind of got my first taste and excitement for controversy, because I was raised Catholic, and I went to an all-Catholic, like a very, very Catholic school. You too? So you are probably damaged and need help. But maybe you didn't, you know, turn it into a career where you dress as the other gender. I was obviously really, you know, needing to kind of work out some of these things, and I did it in a really kind of aggressive, angry way in high school, and wrote theater about it, and made movies about it, and was really attracted to horror and the darker stuff. And I knew that I had to get the hell. Oh, I didn't mention that I was growing up in Maryland. And so along with my passion for horror, I discovered Divine and John Waters at a young age. About the time they were making Hairspray, I was in junior high, and they did a call for the kids that were in the background scenes. I don't know if you remember, but there was some scenes in Hairspray where they had little kids dancing, or junior high kids, on the Corny Collins show. And I desperately wanted my parents to take me to Baltimore so I could be in this movie, and they didn't. And based on these flyers, I found a copy of Pink Flamingos at Mom's Video. I remember that's what it was called. It was on the Eastern Shore. It was called Mom's Video, and it was one of those little crappy video shops where they would rent something like, you know, Pink Flamingos to a 12-year-old, you know, not knowing even what they had in their store. And I think I saw that movie, and it sort of yeah, I mean, it changed my life in a lot of ways, because I then knew there was this world of misfits and freaks and weirdos doing horrible, hideous things just up the road from where I grew up. And Divine, that was fascinating to me, that Divine was larger than life and so charismatic and such a true movie star. And I investigated all the early John Waters movies. I rented everything I could and ate them up. So that, coupled with my interest in horror movies, was really, really what I think got me through high school. And I knew I needed to kind of get the hell out of Dodge and leave Maryland and go and become a film student and study filmmaking somewhere. So I applied to a bunch of schools. I got into NYU. My dad and I went up, we looked at Tisch and saw where I was going to live, and about, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 months before I was all set to go to New York and have my club kid, wacky, crazy, arty life, my parents sat me down and said, you know, if you go to NYU, your brother and sister probably won't be able to afford to go to college. But we'll leave it up to you. So even though I was dark and mean, I did have, you know, some sort of a conscience. And I thought, well, that doesn't seem fair. And I ended up going to my backup school, which was Penn State University.